We've all dreamed of flying, right? That feeling of just soaring through the air. But what if I told you the real challenge isn't mastering the wind, but mastering what's going on in your own head? This is a masterclass in decision-making, thousands of feet up in the air.
And this quote right here, it just nails it. Free flight isn't about escaping reality. It's about being slammed right into it. It demands such complete, total focus that it forces you into the present moment in a way that's, well, pretty rare in our world today.
So, where does it all begin? It starts with that dream, that universal feeling of wanting to see the world from a totally new angle.
Okay, so we have the dream. But to make that dream a reality, you gotta understand a little bit about the science of soaring. Let's break down how it actually works.
Believe it or not, it all comes down to this one simple shape, the airfoil. And the magic, well, it's all in the difference between that curved top surface, the camber, and the flatter bottom. This thing is literally engineered to play with the air around it.
And this shows you exactly how. As the wing cuts through the air going over that curved top has a longer path to travel. So to keep up with the air underneath, it has to speed up. And faster air means lower pressure. That pressure difference between the bottom and the top creates lift. It's really that simple and that beautiful.
And this is where it gets really wild. A paraglider, a fabric wing, travels 10 feet forward for every single foot it drops. And check this out, that's actually a better glide ratio than a Cessna airplane if its engine cuts out. It just goes to show you how ridiculously efficient these wings are at harnessing the energy of the air.
Now you might think it's the Wild West up there, but it's not. Even though it feels like total freedom, free flight in the United States actually operates under a very specific and, honestly, surprisingly simple set of rules, made for safety and accessibility. And here it is, FAA Part 103. This is what officially calls things like paragliders ultralight vehicles. And look at what's not on the list. No pilot's license, no medical certificate. That's a huge amount of freedom, right? But with that freedom comes some serious responsibility. Things like only flying during the day, and you always have to give way to every other aircraft.
Okay, so we've got the wing, we've got the physics, we've even got the rules. But believe it or not, none of that, and I mean none of it, is the most important factor in flying safely. Now we're going to get to the real heart of this thing, the pilot's own mind.
So let me ask you a question. Think about it for a second. You've got all this gear, the wing, the harness, a reserve parachute. But what is the one piece of equipment you absolutely cannot fly without?
It's the pilot. It's you. All the fancy tech in the world means nothing if your judgment is off. At the end of the day, a safe flight comes down to the decisions you make long before your feet ever leave the ground.
This is a classic saying in aviation, and for a very good reason. It's all about something called aeronautical decision-making. And a huge part of that is learning to spot and shut down these hazardous attitudes that can sneak into any pilot's head.
First up, we've got anti-authority. You know that little voice in your head that goes, "Nah, the rules don't apply to me." The antidote is simple, but crucial. Follow the rules. They are usually right. Trust the system.
Then there's impulsivity, that feeling of, I gotta do something right now. When you feel that urge, the antidote is to literally stop. Take a breath, slow it all down, and think before you act.
Okay, this next one is a trap we all fall into in life. Invulnerability. The idea that bad things only happen to other people. The reality check here is tough, but you have to do it. It could absolutely happen to me. Just admitting that risk exists is the very first step to actually managing it.
Next up, the macho attitude, that I can do it feeling. A lot of times it's driven by ego, or maybe trying to look good in front of your friends. The antidote is to remember what real skill looks like. Taking chances is foolish. Making smart, calculated decisions is what's truly impressive.
And finally, we have resignation, that feeling of what's the use, where you feel like you're just a passenger and not in control anymore. This one is seriously dangerous. The antidote is a powerful mental shift. I am not helpless. I am the pilot in command, and my choices make a difference.
So that all sounds great, but how do you actually put it into practice? Well, pilots use a really cool tool called the 3x3 risk assessment. It basically formalizes your decision-making into 3 clear phases: the planning you do at home, the observations you make when you get to the site, and the continuous checks you do while you're actually in the air. And in each of those phases, you're constantly looking at 3 key factors: the weather, or meteo, the terrain and airspace, or geo,
and most importantly, yourself, the pilot. It creates this simple little grid that helps you systematically check in on the risks, not just once, but over and over again through the whole process. And all of this, the science, the rules, these mental models, it all points to one thing: the single most important skill any pilot can ever learn. And it's not what you think. It's not about how well you fly. It's about having the wisdom to know when you shouldn't fly at all.
I mean, just let that sink in for a second. It takes so much self-awareness and discipline to be the one packing up your gear while everyone else is launching into the sky. That's not a sign of failure. It's the ultimate sign of a pilot who gets it, who respects the sport and respects themselves.
So really, what this all boils down to is this: the real test, the hardest battle, isn't with the turbulence. It's the one that happens inside your own head. The battle against your ego, against impatience, against peer pressure. Making the right call on the ground. That is what truly defines a great pilot.
And that brings us to one last thought. The lessons you learn at 3,000 feet are maybe even more valuable back on the ground. It's a masterclass in knowing your own limits, in having the courage to say, you know what, not today. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? In your own life, what are the risks worth taking, and which ones require the real courage to just walk away?